Ramesh Chand. He is a pioneer in agriculture. And before that, on behalf of EGROW and on behalf of our CEO, Professor Charan Singh, I welcome all the discussant, the chair, and the participant. So, before we open the floor to Professor Ramesh Chand, let me introduce, though he requires no introduction, he is so well known in India and abroad, but as a mark of protocol, I have to introduce him. So Professor Ramesh Chand is a member of Niti Aayog. He is also chairman of Institute of Economic Growth. He is also a member of Policy Advisory Council of the Australian Centre for International Agriculture Research, that is ACIAR. In the past, he was member of the 15th Finance Commission, member of Board of Trustee of International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center in Mexico, and member of Food Security.
Bishnoi, I think sufficient.
Sir, there are few new people in the list of our participants for the benefit of us, and it gives us a joy, sir, to remind ourselves, sir, your pioneering contribution to the nation. And let me also tell, whenever I travel outside, everybody asks about him. Some time back, I attended a international conference in Milan, which, and then people were asking about him. So he, whether he is present or not, he is inquired about. So for the benefit of the people who are the newcomer to this platform, I owe this introduction. And Professor Chand is a author 7 books and published more than 150 research papers in reputed national and international journals in the area of agriculture growth and development, demand and supply, food policy, farmers issue, agriculture markets and trade. In recognition of his contribution, Professor Ramesh Chand has received several national and international awards. I'm not going to enumerate those, but suffice to say he has earned by his hard work and his foresightedness. Let me now turn to Professor Narendra Kumar Bishnoi. Narendra Bishnoi is a professor and chair in Department of Economics, Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology, Hisar. He has 32 years of teaching experience. His experience spans economic and fiscal policy analysis, regional competitiveness analysis, and venture capital. He has contributed to various state finance commission in Haryana, developed case study for UNDP, and served on national committees, a large number. He has worked with UNDP, World Bank, and other major international organizations. He has authored over 80 research papers and successfully completed 22 research projects and mentored over 16 PhD scholars. He also engages in popular writing and media discussion and currently mentors startups, including one focus on developing an artificial bionic hand at IIT Delhi's Technology Incubation Center. Ashok Kumar Chauhan, Dr. Ashok Chauhan is working as professor at Department of Economics, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. He has been actively involved in teaching and research guidance. He has been associated with writing of Haryana State Development Report as main consultant. Recently, he has successfully completed UN study on grid-connected solar system, which has a far-reaching impact on the system. Researchers from various fields, social science, including management, commerce, education, tourism, environment management, keep on seeking his help in data analysis. Dr. Chauhan enjoys designing new techniques of analysis which use econometrics, mathematical modeling, programming, and simulation. His area of specialization include environmental economics, which is very upcoming, and quantitative technique. His main concern is socio-economic inequalities. He has published about 30 research papers, supervised 9 PhD scholars, and currently he is supervising 7 research scholars who are working in the area of economic through taxation. Now, Dr. Shailender Kumar Hooda, he is associate professor at the Institute for Study in Industrial Development, New Delhi. He has completed his PhD in economics from JNU. He has over a decade of teaching and research experience. Previously, he taught at the University of Delhi, Maharshi Dayanand University, Rohtak, and has worked with National Council for Applied Economic Research, which all of us know how important it is, and National Institute of Public Finance and Policy. He works on health economics, policy, pharmaceutical industry, industrial policy, and applied economics. So let me now turn to Professor Ramesh Jain, and sir, floor is yours, and then you can lead on Haryana. Of course, he has so much insight, in, especially in the Punjab and Haryana economy, and so I think we are all of us are going to benefit from his intervention in everything. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bishnoi ji, for high-sounding introduction. I would also like to welcome all three experts from Haryana who will be sharing their knowledge and ideas about Haryana economy. But before that, I want to thank Professor Charan and Bishnoi ji to enable me to participate in this session, which I feel is very, very valuable for a couple of reasons. And since Professor Charan Singh is there, I want to state this issue a little more sharply. You see, we know that Punjab and Haryana, they got bifurcated in 1966. But since then, the amount of literature, the kind of debate which have been organized on Punjab are disproportionately high. And we also know that all those events, the literature generally discuss why we could not achieve expected success. I will not call it failure. It may be taken as offense. So why we could not have a certain kind of growth rate, and why in terms of per capita income, a decade after its creation, the state of Punjab kept sliding. And then we have a contrast that there is a sister state which also resulted from that bifurcation. There are so many success stories, there are so many achievements, but it doesn't echo at national level. There are few seminars which talk about this thing. And I was just thinking that I will suggest to Professor Charan Singh, if EGROW would like to take a comparative study of economic performance and other indicators in Haryana and Punjab, and look at what was the contribution of Haryana to national economy in 66 or say 70-71, and of Punjab in 1970-71, and what are their contributions now. And more importantly, to look at the reasons, the factors which led to particular kind of outcome in Haryana, and which led to totally different kind of outcome in the state of Punjab. So unless we do a comparative study, if we keep only discussing Punjab all the time, then I think, as we say many a time, that counterfactual should be there. So I think here is a counterfactual, and it should be a good comparative study. And whatever help you need, I would feel happy to extend that help individually, or even if you want to do this for Niti Yog, I will support this. Now I just come to this seminar on Haryana, and incidentally, before that we have discussed Punjab. I think 15 days back or so, or last month, the economy of Punjab has been discussed. So as you all know that the two states got bifurcated in 1966, and if you start looking at the growth trajectory, you find that immediately it broke from the growth trajectory of old Punjab or combined Punjab. And I would like to share with you some of the statistics to set the context. In 70-71, per capita income of Haryana was 18% less than Punjab. In 80-81, it became only 12% less than Punjab. 1991, it became 9.8% less than Punjab. By 2001, it was 7.5% less than Punjab. Around 2002-3, Haryana edged out Punjab. I got all these figures from a paper which I wrote for Asian Institute of Technology in Bangkok. So then I checked those figures today. I found that those figures which I took there were correct. And by year 2010-11, per capita income of Haryana turned out to be 35% more than Punjab. In 2021, it was 50% more than Punjab, and the journey is continuing. In 22-23, it is 62% more than Punjab. I think these statistics that even in terms of per capita income, Haryana is now 80-90% above India, and Punjab is very close to what is the national average. Depending upon whether you take NSDP, GSDP, whatever, it can be a little less or more, but it is just equal to national average, whereas Haryana is 80% above national average. If I go to sector, again, I would like to present only one number. You are working day in and day out in this area. You will be understanding nuances, fine figures. I just, from Niti side, we monitor the broad indicators. So I looked at these only from that sense, that productivity of agriculture worker in Haryana is more than 4 times what is the average productivity of a agriculture worker in India. So I think these numbers speak volumes about achievement of Haryana in all sectors of economy, whether it is primary sector, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is service, IT, etc., etc. So I would just suggest to the 3 experts. I do not consider them economists. I consider them development economists because they are touching different dimension of development of Haryana, and then looking at it, not so much fiscal kind of aspect, except Dr. Bishnoi, because he worked with the State Finance Commission, etc. So I find that all 3 of them, through their students, they have been studying the development of Haryana. So it is up to you, but at this stage, I am only suggesting, but I am not, I would say, circumscribing that you necessarily go by what I am telling you. That may be injustice to you because you are not told this thing in advance. To the extent you can, that would be nice. Otherwise, you go for whatever presentation you have prepared. One is that if you can share with the audience, what are the lessons from Haryana's economic achievements? How come that in per capita income, in infrastructure, in agriculture, in IT, in services, manufacturing, its growth rate has been very impressive, very impressive. And from number 4-5 state in per capita income, for some years it was number 1, then number 2, now around number 3, depending on what set of states you choose for selecting. So this is one that some strong factor which contributed to these achievements. If you can share with us more in the nature of conveying messages to rest of India. Then secondly, current challenges. No doubt your achievements are extraordinary, but still, achievements never comes without challenges. So what are the current challenges? What is the current state of Haryana's economy? And third is that what need to be done to secure future of Haryana, particularly as all states, many states are now trying to meet the national goal of Viksit Bharat, the states are coming with parallel goal of Viksit Uttar Pradesh, Viksit Andhra, Viksit like that. So if we want Haryana to become Viksit Haryana by 2047, that is what is needed for India to become Viksit. If any state is not Viksit, India cannot claim to be Viksit. So what do you think? Because Haryana is 70% ahead of India in per capita income. The effort that you will require to become Viksit, to raise per capita income to at current dollar 18,000, you will require much lower effort compared to average Indian states. Also compared to states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, whose per capita income is far behind you. So what is your thinking about that? Whether Haryana will be able to continue with the, I think, around 7% growth rate for another 20 years. My calculation shows that that is what will make you Viksit Bharat, for which India as a whole will require little higher growth rates. So I think I will stop here, and I look forward to hear your views, to know from you, to know your insights about Haryana economy and these three issues which I have mentioned. The list which is given to me, and it is as per the CV of three experts from Haryana, read by Dr. Ashok Vishendas. So first we have Dr. N.K. Bishnoi ji. So Bishnoi ji, your turn first.
Thank you, sir. Gargi, can you please share the slides?
Yes, sir. I request the organizer to assign me the role of presenter, please.
वो शेयरिंग का ऑप्शन दे दीजिए.
So,
विवेक वो गार्गी को थोड़ा देना.
Sir given.
Gargi, it is Gargi Pura who she will be presenting for me.
Done, sir.
So,
It's visible now, Dr. Bishnoi.
good evening, all. Thank you very much, sir, and Honorable Professor Ramesh Chandji, Member Niti Aayog and Chair of this session. Respected Professor Charan Singh, Chief CEO of EGROW Foundation, Professor Bishandas, my co-panelist Professor Ashok Chauhan and Professor Shailender, and very distinguished economists and DI students. First of all, I am very thankful to Professor Charan Singh ji for giving me this opportunity to share my views on this very important issue. And I have been working on this economy of Haryana, so I really feel honored to be over here to share my views. And as Professor Ramesh Chandji has mentioned, that there are certain things that why Haryana is doing better and what are the lessons and where Haryana can go forward from this point. So not exactly in the similar manner, but I have tried to cover certain things in my presentation. And hopefully, sir, I have around 25 to 30 minutes.
Around 20 to 25.
Yes, thank you. So next slide, please. Basically, economy of Haryana, as Professor Ramesh Chandji said, is doing fairly well. And in terms of current price per capita GSDP, Haryana is on number 3. Telangana and Karnataka are ahead of us. But in terms of constant per capita GDP, Haryana again is on number 3, and Karnataka and Gujarat have moved ahead. But from 2002 to 2003 till 2020-21, till Corona, Haryana was number 1 in terms of per capita income. So Professor Mason has also mentioned this thing. And after this, over the last 2 years, Haryana has the per capita income or growth of Haryana has slightly come down, and the reason we'll see in the next slide. And the reason is that during the last 8-9 years, the service sector in Haryana has basically growth of service sector has slowed down. So I have taken here from 80 to 1991 first period, then 91 to 2003-4 second period, and third period is from 2004-5 to 2013-14. And last 9-10 years is the last. So I have divided into these 4 parts. In 4 parts, we can see that all the component in Haryana, primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector, have been doing fairly well. Growth has been improving consistently, except that this tertiary sector growth, it was during a 10-year period between 2004-5 to 13-14, it was around 10.5%. It has come down to around 5.2%. So because of the slowing down of service sector, Haryana's per capita growth, other states have overtaken Haryana, these 2 states. But to me, it seems to be slightly temporary in the sense that IT sector and activities in Gurgaon, they were impacted by Corona, after Corona, because of the global economic scenario. And once Europe and American economy start improving, so hopefully IT sector will again be doing much better than it was doing over the last 4 or 5 years. So Haryana can again regain the much better growth in terms of service sector also. Next. Now, what Professor Ramesh said, I have tried to make this thing that if in terms of current prices per capita, national capital per capita income of Haryana is around 3 lakh rupees, and India it is around 1,70,000 rupees. So if we convert that into purchasing power parity US dollars, then the Indian per capita income is, as per World Bank record, it is around 8,379. And if we go by the same conversion factor, Haryana would be around 14,662. So presently, in terms of per capita income, in purchasing power parity terms, Haryana is having around $14,700 per capita income. Two economies, Uruguay and Antigua and Barbuda, these are categorized as high income economies by the World Bank. And the per capita income in terms of purchasing power parity last year is $29,000 and $25,000 around some figures. So if the World Bank data shows that in terms of purchasing power parity, India has been growing at a rate of 6.6% over the last 20 years. So if Haryana, and I estimated the elasticity of growth of per capita income of Haryana with respect to per capita growth of India, and it is 1.5 for over the last 10-12 years, and between 80 to since 80 to 2021-22, it is around 1.7. Basically, the meaning is that Haryana is continuously growing at a much higher rate than India. And if we presume, next slide, if we presume that Haryana can maintain the same growth, same edge over India, and Haryana grow by 9.9% per annum in terms of PPP, by the next 10 years, sir, Haryana can be a developed economy. Rather, within the next 5-7 years, Haryana can reach this milestone of a high income economy by purchasing power parity. So if Haryana grow by just 6.7%, if India is growing by 7%, Haryana has all the possibility to grow by 7.6%. In that case also, by 2033-34, per capita income of Haryana would be around more than $31,000 in terms of purchasing power parity. So the point is that Haryana is into this upper, it is on the threshold of joining the upper middle income economy from the lower middle income economy. India falls in the lower middle income economy, and Haryana has, crossed that threshold, and it is on the verge of joining upper middle income economy. And we expect to join the status of a developed economy or a high income economy by the next 10 years. So India has a target by 47-48. Haryana can try to become a developed economy or at least high income economy by next 10-12 years. Next, please. Now, as we all understand, sustaining economic growth demands a lot of policy interventions in a timely manner. Moreover, developed economy is not simply high income economy, it needs much more things. So Haryana faces certain strong points and certain weak spots are also there. Let us discuss all those things. Next, please. Next. So this is the structural transformation of Haryana. The positive point is that economy of Haryana is going in a very right direction in terms of structural transformation. And at one time, agriculture contributed around 54% of GSDP of the state in 1981. Now this share has come down to around 17%. Interestingly, in 11-12, when this news series came, at that time Haryana was reporting its agriculture share of agriculture in total GSDP around less than 17%. But because of this definitional issues, agriculture sector was defined in a certain more comprehensive manner. So certain component of service sector were included in agriculture. So share of agriculture increased from 17% to 23%, but now it has come down to around 17%. And secondary sector, tertiary sector, the share of service sector is more than 50%, and secondary sector is also, particularly manufacturing and secondary sector, are contributing around 32 to 33% of the total GSDP in Haryana. So this share is increasing, and it's a very positive sign. Next, please. Not only this, in terms of employment, if we see 93, 94, around 58% of the total population, total workers were engaged in primary sector in Haryana, and consistently it keep on declining till 18-19 before Corona hit, and by that time less than 26.9% workers were engaged in agriculture. What has happened after Corona is that because this urban sector was adversely impacted, because of that, lot of jobs are lost in urban areas. Persons have shifted back to agriculture, and because of this share has increased from less than 27% to around 30%. So as per calculations, around 1 crore workers are there. So more than 3 lakh workers have gone back to agriculture from other sectors. So this is one of the issue that what Professor Mason was mentioning, that why unemployment is high. So there are certain other issues also. We'll come to them all. But one of the issues presently facing the economy of Haryana is that agriculture sector is again burdened to some extent, and somehow the policy intervention has not been to restore the employment and economic activities of the urban areas. So this is one of the point we take. It seems to be temporary, but yes, we are suffering from this, and we need to take care of this dimension. Next, please. Now, this is simply the comparative productivity of the three sectors. So after this Corona, the relative productivity of agriculture has come down, and service sector has also lost some sheen. Basically, it means that quality jobs in service sector are also suffering. So we have done certain exercises where the income of persons engaged in trade and similar activities and tertiary sector activities, informal sector, the income has come down over the last 4 or 5 years. So that is again an issue of concern, and we need to take care of this thing. Next, please. Now, this is very interesting and surprising that in Haryana, the urban population has been increasing at a rate of around 45% to 50% since 1980-81. In last census, 2011, around 35% of the population was in urban areas. In absolute terms, it was around 88 lakh. In rural areas, it was around 165 lakh persons were living in rural areas. So as certain calculations are available from the Government of India side, we have also done something. So presently, we can say in 2021, the rural population did not increase, almost has stagnated from 165 lakh to 167 lakh. So only 2 lakh persons have increased in rural areas in Haryana. Means all the increase in population has been shifted to urban areas. And this is accelerating. This process is accelerating, and by the year 2031, we are expecting that around 55% of the total Haryana population will be living in urban areas. So these are the facts we need to take note of. That things have, because Haryana is doing economically very well. So economy has transformed in terms of GSDP, share of GSDP from non-agriculture sector, share of in employment from non-agriculture activities. Similarly, urban areas are also growing in Haryana. And next, please. Equally interesting dimension is that the growth in urban area is very, democratic in the sense that the small urban centers, from having a population between 5,000 to 10,000, the growth from 2011 to 2001 to 2011, between that census, the growth of population in this category of urban areas was 250%. So that's, the persons are shifting from rural areas to nearby areas where better facilities are available, rather than rushing to the metro towns or bigger towns. So this is a very positive phenomena. And similarly, if the urban areas having population from 10,000 to 20,000, the growth is 70%. In urban areas having population between 20 to 50,000, growth is 57%. And surprisingly, the urban areas having more than 1 lakh population, the growth is only 40%. Average growth is around 45%. And out of that, in urban bigger towns, population growth is only 40%. That shows that smaller urban areas are growing at a faster rate. So here, unfortunately, what is our experience is that government is focusing more on providing superior facilities in larger areas. So if smaller towns are focused in a more meaningful manner, things can be much better for Haryana. Overall, things are better, but still we can give more attention to smaller urban centers. Next. So Haryana is no more agriculture society. It is no more rural society, rural economy. So we need to take care of this thing. Now, as we all know that economically Haryana has done very well, but somehow our achievements in terms of socio-economic indicators have not been commensurate, proportionate. So this is the issue, and one issue Haryana confronted continuously. I have not included that in slide because we keep on talking about that the poor status of female in Haryana. So whatever indicator in terms of our education, literacy rate, or education, or employment, or female employment, female workforce participation rate, everywhere the problem of the below par performance of Haryana on certain indicators is because of not good economic condition or social condition of our women folks. Now, I have taken as a summary of socio-economic development of Haryana by comparing this SDG goals. I tried to get the report, sir. This 24 report is not available online. It had been, made public somehow. I have seen certain reports, but it was not available online. So I have taken only 18 to 20 SDG report for states. And this report shows that in terms of SDG 1, no poverty, Haryana has improved its condition. It scored 50, and now it is almost 70. So performance is much better. In zero hunger, Haryana has done again improved its conditions. But in quality education, the score of Haryana has gone down from 65 to 64. So it's marginal decrease, but we were expecting it to increase to a better level. So this is an issue of concern, and quality of education in Haryana now is a major concern to me, at least the way things looks. Similarly, gender equality, it is captured over here. In 18, it was just 31. Its total absolute score was 31. Now it has improved to 43, but still it is much below the level. So when we go for clean water and sanitation, Haryana has done better. Its score is 80, but it has not improved during these 2 years. then decent work and economic conditions. Here, the condition of Haryana has deteriorated from, as we can see the table. Similarly, we can see this peace, justice, and strong institutions score of Haryana has deteriorated. So these are the scores, and in fact, if we look at the economic performance of Haryana, its SDG goal performance is not. I mean, it could have been much better. Similarly, if we see infant mortality rate, if we see gender ratio, all their literacy rate, the score of Haryana is around average of the India, and its economic performance suggests that it should have been amongst the better ones. So that is the area Haryana need to work more actively. Otherwise, things may go maybe disturb its economic momentum. It might have some trouble. Now, again, we can see that undernutrition among children below 5 years of age, we can see its anemia is 70% of the total. In all the three, I mean, National Family Health Survey, 5, 6, then 15, 16, and then last one that was for the period of 2019, 21. So it is almost stagnant. So this is one area, but it is very high level. More than 70, 72% our children are suffering from anemia, underweight, and this severely wasted. It has severely wasted has come down, but wasting and stunting everywhere Haryana has score is not in the acceptable range. It should have been at a much lower level, but it's still not coming down to the level it was required. Similarly, undernutrition among women between 15 to 49 years of age, around we can see that as this figure is showing that even in the 2019-21 round of National Family Health Survey, 15% of Haryana women are underweight. Similarly, when we see anemia in pregnant women, it is the ratio. This is 61% women are suffering from anemia, and pregnant women it is again around 60%. So this figure is unacceptably high, and we need to take care of this thing. That is a point. Next, please. Now, poverty in Haryana is, if we go by this multidimensional poverty. Next, please. This is the individual components, and overall, the multidimensional poverty indicators show that only 5% population of Haryana was in the category of poor, and latest when new reports have come after consumption expenditure survey report, so Haryana has almost no poverty as such. So absolute deprivation in Haryana is not there. We have eradicated it, and the reason for that is also that Haryana and Punjab had the benefit of having this agriculture-led growth. So because of agriculture-led growth, the prosperity was spread all around in the interior areas. Roads were connected, electricity was provided, even basic facilities, banking, all that was provided way back in 70s and 80s in Haryana and also in Punjab, as we know. So because of those things, the relatively on this count, things are better. Social front is a different story. Next. Now, status of labor force. Now, this we can look at the last two columns in this figure. One is this blue color, where workers with secondary education or more, I mean, who are educated at least secondary level or more than secondary level. So this is the
Dr. Bishnoi, 3 minutes left. Huh?
Okay, sir.
3 more minutes.
Right, sir. So almost 50% of the population workers of Haryana are secondary or higher educated, but at the same time, around 30% of the total workers are primary educated or less than primary or illiterate. So this is the contrast. The better educated persons need quality jobs, and less educated workers need manual jobs. So this is the balance government has to strike. Next, please. This is something very interesting in Haryana. Almost 40% of the total workforce is into regular salaried job. So regular salaried job provide better job options, better quality of job. So this way, the problem of Haryana facing unemployment is also one of the things that expectation is we should get better job in terms of regular salary. If we are not getting regular salaried job, we do not join informal sector easily. Next, this is workforce participation rate. Females workforce participation is excessively low, only 15%. It's improving, but it's still it's only 15%. Next. So next, all these 4-5 slides show basically that Gurgaon and Faridabad over the many years have disproportionately grown in Haryana, and total GST collection comes from Gurgaon and Faridabad more than 70%. Total organized sector job around 70%. Next, please. So in all the sectors, it's from 40, 50, 60%. I mean, good quality jobs or economic activities are concentrated in Gurgaon and Faridabad. So this is one lopsided economic development. This is an area of great concern to Haryana, and this concentration of economic activity is continuously growing, and it's creating a lot of problems. Next, please. Next. This is now but interesting. Gurgaon per capita income in 2021 was around 8,50,000 rupees. Faridabad reported 4 lakh per capita income. Haryana per capita income at the time was 2,64,000. If we exclude Haryana, Gurgaon from Haryana per capita income come down to 2,30,000, and if we exclude Gurgaon and Faridabad, it comes down to 2,10,000 rupees. So it was still much better. India's average is only 1,30,000 rupees. So in comparison to India, other parts are well developed, but yes, this is the scenario. Next, please. Next. So Haryana economically doing well. Structural transformation is right direction. Physical infrastructure, Haryana is very good. Educational institutions and health infrastructure is coming up, but results are not proportionate. Next, please. So now only thing, next. Now the thing is that at present, if we wish to sustain our economic growth momentum, we need to modernize the society and economy. So when we say modernization of economy, what I mean is that unfortunately, as has happened all over the country, in Haryana also, Ambala scientific instrument industry, mixie grinder, then we have in Panipat textile, we have in Yamunanagar steel utensils, Rewari brass utensils, Hisar, PVC, all towns were having some specialized industries. Still they are working over there, but somehow they have not modernized, they have not infused better technology, they have not used better technology and management practices. Unfortunately, industry side is not doing to improve their condition. Similarly, government is also almost ignored them to great extent. Nobody take care of them. So until those sectors, those industries, existing industries are made more vibrant through government interventions, and because the entrepreneurs are not coming up to improve their conditions, so government need to take care of those things, and we need to modernize the economic activities. Similarly, society need to be modernized to give better status to its women folk and deprived sections. If we can do these two things, then Haryana can be a developed economy in next 10-12 years. For that, solution can be that university-led growth, quality of education can be improved, particularly quality universities. So unfortunately, the government to government, this university education is not the priority area in that sense, in a comprehensive manner. If that can be done, because the world over, universities have attracted high quality jobs, then high technology startups and other jobs in university towns. In Haryana, Hisar, Rohtak, Kurukshetra present the perfect geographical locations where a lot of high-tech industry can be attracted because of the presence of good universities. In Haryana, we have Hisar, we have GJU, HAU, Veterinary Science University. In Kurukshetra, we have NIT, Kurukshetra University, other institutions, Rohtak similarly. So these institutions should be leveraged to improve economic condition and modernize economic and social activities. That is my proposition. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bishnoi, especially for planning time very perfectly. And thank you for sharing your insight precisely on the three issues which I mentioned in the beginning. I hope the participant will not suspect that I I share this thing in advance with you that I'm going to seek your views on these three issues. But you, I think, kept material which gave you opportunity to address the three issues which I had raised. Also, some perceptions, especially perception about Gurgaon and Faridabad shaping destiny of Haryana. But I calculated from the number is that they matter only in terms of increasing per capita income by only 20%. So if they are excluded, the income of Haryana per capita income declines only by 20%. Not that it falls to very low levels. And one thing about which I am concerned that it still remain higher than Punjab. Because often this argument is made in Punjab that it is a Gurgaon effect, it is a Faridabad, it is vicinity to New Delhi, which matters. But if you remove those urban growth center from Haryana, still your per capita income far higher than what is the national average. Overall, very good presentation. Only one or two suggestions which I would like to make at this point that when you are looking at future income of Haryana, to my mind, it should not be looked at PPP because PPP doesn't remain constant when your income start rising. So if you have that factor of 3.5 or 4 today, once you are high income economy, that factor may not be more than 1.5 or so. So that would be the reason that when you look at distant future, you look at current dollar or constant dollar kind of figures rather than using the PPP figures. And maybe you have already done. I would still love to have some material from you in terms of definite sectors like what is happening in manufacturing, what is happening in agriculture. So if we put them in primary, secondary, tertiary, it masks a lot of information. Like if you look at growth rate of your agriculture, it is now around 3%, but somehow your mining sector is showing more than 30%. Maybe people who are sand mining, they are very active, so you have growth rate of more than 30%. So in primary, that also comes. So you don't get actually what is happening in agriculture. Similarly, secondary also, you have construction, you have manufacturing, and so many things. If separately something around manufacturing can be shown, that will be very nice. But subsequently showed about employment data, etc. But I was feeling particularly concerned that till 17-18, the employment in manufacturing sector was increasing. But after that, you just find that it declined from at 1.33% to now only 30% or less than 30%. So that also, I think, a matter of concern. Maybe you can take it up in the question answer sessions. Also, this structural transformation, it has several dimensions, particularly looking at structural transformation in terms of rural and urban. I was noting something when that slide just left. I just wanted to see whether overall rural population is still growing. Decline in share is understandable, but whether overall rural population is still growing, if it is growing less than,
it is stagnant.
it is stagnant. Okay.
Absolute
Okay.
population is
Because
stagnant.
much of the urbanization in Haryana is of people who moved from outside Haryana to Haryana. Delhi people moving to Gurgaon, large number of people I know moving to Panchkula. So it is not internal movement from rural to urban entirely. Only some of it is there. So since you are telling that urban population is almost stagnant, it can happen only because of two reasons. Either people are moving from urban area also to rural to also urban area, or some of the previously classified rural area are getting classified as urban area. So that aspect also important to understand what kind of rural urban shift is happening in case of Haryana. But I enjoyed your presentation, very insightful, and you covered vast area in the limited 25 minutes time. So I now turn to Professor Ashok Kumar Chauhan ji. I would say another veteran who has been working in Haryana economy for very long period. Also through his students, he has guided 9 PhD and 15 MPhil students. So I invite Professor Chauhan to make his presentation.
Thank you, Professor Ramesh Chandra. And respected
Can some of
Professor
us
Charan
stop our video so that the connection is strong with Dr. Chauhan? His voice is breaking. Chauhan sir, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you, sir. So, a distinguished economist and my co-panelist, Professor Bishnoi, Professor Shailender, and other participants here. I am thankful CEO EGROW, Professor Charan Singh ji, who made this opportunity available to me. And particularly, sir, 10 days back, we were trying to rope in you for our conference on 29th and 30th August. And we wrote a letter to your office also, but we got a regret. Now I am feeling very, very lucky that I am sharing this forum with. Thank you, sir. Professor Bishnoi has given an excellent snapshot and given very good suggestions also, and whatever challenges you have thrown. So he has tried to solve some of those problems and tried to answer. So while agreeing with him in most of the things, because we keep on talking many times and many of our views are common. Professor Charan requested me to speak on agriculture. He said that okay, you should focus on agriculture. So I thought let me talk on this.
Professor Shokmar, some people in chat box are saying that your voice is low. Can you move closer to speaker?
Okay, sir. Am I audible now? I'm
To
very
me,
close
you are
now.
audible, but someone put in the chat box that your voice is low. It's okay. It is better if you keep yourself ahead.
At the end also. Sir, Haryana economy is of around now 6.3 lakh crore rupees, and Haryana is contributing about, you can say, 3% in the national economy. Currently, as Professor Bishnoi has also told that we have seen that it is growing at about at 8%. Before that, 7.9%, and before that it was in the earlier year 9.7%, and in the COVID year it was minus 9%. Before COVID also it dwindled very slow to at 2.3%, and in the 18-19 it was growing at a rate of 10.6%. So why it dwindled before the so that should be that we should analyze. They were falling. They started falling. Probably same, almost similar thing happened with the agriculture, because growth rate is, you can say, as compared to other sectors, relatively stable. Base is stable in Haryana phase. So currently it is growing at a rate of 4.4%, agriculture and allied sector. And in the earlier, the growth rate was 2.2%. In the 2021, in the COVID year, it was minus 0.9. So you for overall economy it was minus 9. For agriculture and allied, it was just minus 0.9. So it means it was less severely affected by the COVID. And before COVID also, the whole of Haryana was growing at 2.3, but agriculture and allied sector that gone down only to minus 1.5. And before that, it was growing at a rate of 5.3%. Before that, it was 8.8%, and before that, 7%. So you see, currently also, as you were asking that what is the current state. So currently also, it has not reached pre-COVID level, you can say. The growth has not reached up to the pre-COVID level. The share of the agriculture and allied sector, it is 16.2% of the national. If you take primary sector, then probably it would come around at you can say 18 to 10%. About 45 or 46% dependent on agriculture in Haryana. If India, then you can say it means more people have come out of agriculture from Haryana. Sir, I have been talking to farmers. So instead of going to government survey and other reports, I talked to many farmers and agriculture administrative officers in Haryana and tried to find out. Of course, my researchers who go in the field and collect data. So I talked to them also. So that is my way of. So people are leaving agriculture faster than the India, and those who leave agriculture, if they try to join again due to some problem, if they are not able to earn in the other sectors, then it becomes for them. If they come out, once they come out of the agriculture, then it becomes difficult because a lot of information is required. Professor Charan Singh was also asking that how do you compare Haryana and Punjab? See, in Haryana, the response of the farmers to the policy is really very, very good. And extension services are really very good. Particularly Haryana Agriculture University, Hisar. So they have designed many methods. Before that also, who was doing all this. There were a lot, say, program means good extension services are available to the farmers. The farmers are really very, very alert in Haryana and very smart, and they give a good response. But many now, because when they follow a scheme and it's on, there is a problem, then the policy of farmers become poor and they to the old practices. Sir, as you also told that about various sectors of various subsectors of the primary sector. So like in agriculture and allied sector, the crop and livestock is growing at 3.9%. Forest growing at 4%. So forest always because once it go, so once you cut them in say 8 to 10 years, then you can say in the next year to have again same growth rate. See, in fishery, the growth rate is 27%. So this looks very nice. In fact, fishery is about the crops and livestock. Is half of the crop and livestock. And there the growth rate is so in fishery, but I found that it is a highly risky business, and you can say if they don't intervene for a few hours, sometimes 3 goes less, and certainly all the you can say fishes may die in few hours, and that can lead to many other kind of problems, a lot of stinking, lot of smell, and the risk of you can say spreading many. So that is risky business. Something should be done. Technological intervention is required. That what should be done in case of because growth rate is high and promising sector. So I have found that Haryana farmers are very smart, and if they are not able to earn from one you can say area, they other area also. What do we want? We want more diversification. We want more natural farming, more you can say organic farming. We want more floriculture, more horticulture. We want, you can say, better. We farming, more shed farming, more you can say precision farming, more control farming. For all kind of these objectives, scheme, there are large schemes provided by the Haryana government to the farmers. But in most of the schemes, the benefits are given by lottery. Particularly if you note one of these, as I talk to administrative officers of the districts. So it is given by lottery, and there will be a moral hazard on both sides, on the farmer and on the officer side also. And there are problems. So government boasts of that for everything there is. For water there is a scheme, for soil leveling there is a scheme, for soil reclamation. Whatever you can say step in agriculture you can out. So for everything you will find a scheme in Haryana. So the schemes say gross fixed capital around 16 or 17. You see, it means the increment. We can
Dr. Chauhan, we are not able to we are not able to hear you. Maybe signal is weak at your end. And a lot of people have put in the chat box voice breaking, voice intermittent.
please,
I don't know if anything can be done.
you are
Your
clearly
signal
audible to.
seems to be weak. No, it was okay in the beginning, but over time it is diminishing. I don't know if anything can be done. Please go ahead. If nothing can be done, no problem.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I was saying that in manufacturing second sector, the gross fixed capital formation rate is 50%, and growth rate is about 7%. So, and getting 7. So it means incremental capital output ratio there is less. In agriculture, it is very, very high. We have also noted that labor in the farm, that is very, very high. So if labor productivity is high in any and I saw it also very high, it investment should be there. It means investment not going in it as it should go. So if you, what I find that this is very promising scheme, Meri Fasal, Meri Virasat. Now, scheme has been offered that if the farmers they grow less water consuming crops, they will be provided some money, but it was not provided to the farmers. So many farmers they told that they have filed even RTI also, but they didn't get any answer. If they diversified, they were motivated by the government for diversification. So they sowed, you can say, jawar or bajra, or you can say other crops which consume less water, but they were not given. Similarly, lot of moral hazard has been found in the Yojana also. So we found that farmers they were insured, their crops were insured, not for the crop which they sowed, rather for some other crop by the banks forcibly. So it, and you can say a premium they paid. You see, one part of the premium is paid by the farmer, and equal part is paid by the Haryana government, and remaining, you can say, central government. So even with so much subsidy, the scheme was not successful, and only those farmers who had got a loan from the bank. So whenever they went to the bank to get their, you can say, at that time they were insured by the bank forcibly. So it means this has to be corrected somehow. If you talk about MSP, see, a lot of roar is there, okay, but still I feel that MSP is not that big issue. So I may sound contrary. So whatever is happening on the Shambhu border, today also I had to cross the Shambhu border with a lot of difficulty. So whatever is happening, so but still I find that there are other issues. See, of course, we have to see that during, you can say, from 2004 to 2014, the prices of the agriculture commodities at average, these, you can say, 160 to 170%. But from 10 to till date, these have 65% for all the crops, the minimum support prices. Of course, able to keep on increasing the MSP, because that is leading to other kind of misallocation of the resources, and because MSP is given only on the fourth, so that leads to other problems. So this is a suggestion, sir, that if there is a forecasting agency in Haryana, and if they consider, you can say, consider all factors and forecast a price and declare it as MSP with a Bhavantar Bharpai Yojana, okay, which is already there in the Haryana, in advance. See, if it is highly credible, if the farmers believe that this will be the price, then misallocation of the resources in all the crops, that will go. See, the still, you can say, effective in agriculture sector, that prices of the potato will go very high in 5 years. Almost same thing happens to every crop on which MSP is not given. So a lot of cycles, say, the prices fluctuation is very, very high. Controlled with very easy and can say cheap method, and not means very cost effective method, that is that forecast the price and declare it effectively. Okay, if this is disseminated to the farmers, they will decide in advance that how much has to be sold. So this is very that of course this is also true about the Bhavantar Bharpai Yojana also. For the for all kind of oil seeds in Haryana, the farmers, they are able to get the right kind of price, and neither complain with the government that they are not getting the declared for the Bhavantar Bharpai Yojana. Crop residual management, sir, to the farmers. So whatever the residual is coming from wheat, paddy, or cotton, sugarcane, particularly from the wheat, paddy, and cotton, so that can be used for making. There should be 22 manufacturing plants in Haryana. Till now, there is only, I think, there is only one plant working in Haryana. That is also not in, you can say, any, you can say, that district where these residues, that is in Faridabad. So this kind means when everybody is concerned about the environment, about the pollution, then the ethanol manufacturing plants which use the crop residue, they should be near to the farmers, and I am hopeful that farmers are really waiting that this should happen. Many good things are happening, and farmers are highly responsive, but you can promises made by the government have not been fulfilled. There are many other problems like Jal Shakti Mission. Very little corruption is there, but that little corruption is harming the ponds in the Johors of the ponds and Johors in the Haryana village. As an environment economist, I have found that 80% they have been, you can say, now they are not there, they have been eliminated. They for some of the so you can say ponds and Johors are left, they need to be cleaned. Mission is there, but a surprise or a BDO will not sign, you can say, that work was started on this date. The contractors working in this area, they are suffering, you can say, many kind of loss. And I think that is, you can say, revolution.
Dr.
So,
Chauhan, 2 minutes. Please conclude in 2 minutes. Huh?
only suggestion, nothing else, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
One suggestion is whatever studies have been done by the SDG Coordination Center, UNDP case studies. So I think there were 50 or more studies. So those good practice should be so that it can be used with little variation in other states. This is one thing. Second, FPO is a farmer produce organization, is a very big promise, and beyond this, that farmers adopt this and they go for the, you can say, cooperative farming. Sir, I am sure that many people want to come out of the agriculture. They will come out, and you can say FPO that is going to help in this. Some of the things in Haryana have happened faster. Like in those who have come out of the agriculture, they have sold assets. अब सर वो किसान के लिए ट्रैक्टर जो गैस के ओनर के लिए राजेश करते हैं, so those tractors are not there. They have sold those extra assets, and also means for cultivating take one crop in 1 year. So those who are taking 3 crops in 1 year, they are managing somehow. Otherwise, all other farmers are in problem because the rent is very high, and rent is going to those people, those who are not working, just owning the land. And rent has gone in some of the areas, it has gone up to 90,000 per year also, and nowhere it is less than 60,000 per year. So this rental income going to the class which is not working. So it means something should be done for those who are the real cultivators, real farmers, and real they should come. So I will not say best thing. I say that de-risking is more important, and de-risking is possible only by as in tech. Things. So beside agriculture, sir, I want to give one suggestion. You can say for employment.
But one last suggestion. Your time is over, Professor Ashok. Sorry, I have to say that. One last suggestion.
Provide decent work. Then Haryana, and decent work is also possible only with technology intervention, like in sanitation, in management, in garbage cleaning. If we add more technology there, work will become decent, and more people will be loaded to do more work. And designing of the work is important, not the, you can say, providing the jobs by the government or the private sector, whatever we say that should give the job. So those who are giving the jobs, they have to redesign the job profile.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ashok, Professor Ashokji. In fact, there was so much interest in your lecture that you will find in chat box so many people mentioning about your voice breaking. I was able to Here, at least 90% of what you said, there were in between some breaks, but I think some other people, they had some difficulty. So loss is ours. So it happens sometime if the strength of signal is weak. So I will be brief. I think in the beginning itself, you highlighted very important issue. If I am able to hear it properly, that after COVID, Haryana economy has not gone back to its previous growth momentum. That is I think, serious issues. Now it is 3 years. Most of the states show that they are resilient. They are now back on the normal growth trajectory. Rather, in many cases, it is higher than what was the pre-COVID period. So we need to look at it, that why after COVID Haryana is not able to move on the pre-COVID growth trajectory. It's a serious matter to my mind. In fact, in one of the meetings with your chief minister, since Haryana is with me, so I used to hold annual meeting with the state chief ministers. So I was just mentioning to him, out of my observation, that now you don't have competition with Punjab, now you have competition with Uttar Pradesh. You see, they are also having similar kind of situation, that if you have Gurgaon, they have Noida. If you have red carpet for investors, they are unfolding more red carpet for the investors. So it happened. This is our competitive federalism where we have to operate. But I think that is a factor which Haryana need to consider, that how to provide better opportunity to investors in Haryana compared to other states, rather than capital moving out of Punjab out of some reason. So I don't know whether that is the factor, that after COVID, Haryana economy is not going back to its normal growth. You also rightly talked about capital formation. Yes, there is always less capital requirement in agriculture, because agriculture is more labor intensive than capital intensive. But this issue of much of the resources in agriculture going to subsidy rather than going into capital also need to be seen. Whether overall allocation of resources to agriculture as percent of agriculture GDP is falling, or you find that it is the distribution which is changing, overall allocation is not falling. We need to, as economists, we need to see that also. You made very good point about market intelligence, forecasting. In fact, now there are quantitative method available, econometric technique available to make forecast about next 3-4 months with nearly 80 to 90% accuracy. In fact, when I was in ICR before coming to NITI, we had a project in 12 state agriculture university where we tried to develop their capacity on this price forecasting for crops like potato, crops like sunflower. So I think this work should be done by Haryana Agriculture University. I will speak to Professor Kamboj, who is a person who believe in delivery, if that kind of mechanism could be considered. Also, I would like to know the reference of UNDP study you were just mentioning, from where I can get copies of those. If you can just let me know. Your suggestion regarding FPO is really very important. More so because now FPO are coming on ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce, which is of great help to them. I don't know if anything can be done on high rent on land. It is determined by market. There's no government policy which is supporting that rent should be high. If it is, I know that this kind of complaint is there in case of Punjab and some other places also. But whether there is a case for government intervention, and whether that intervention will be in the overall interest of the sector, or it will not be in the overall interest of the sector that need to be seen. Only one example I want to share with you. You just said that people once move out of agriculture do not come back to agriculture. Incidentally, I find now some reversal is happening. You might be aware near Sonipat, Aterna village. I visited it last year, and they are growing baby corn, capsicum for export, high tech agriculture, etc., etc. I met couple of young uh, uh, people there who said that they left their job in Delhi, they left their job in Bangalore. They find that this high-tech agriculture is more paying than the jobs which they were having in urban areas. Even in other states, also I met those kind of persons. So I think what you also said that if we can make changes in agriculture to make it that decent kind of employment, then surely people would like to work in agriculture, but not at present. I would come to that point at the end also when I would like to say something about future of agriculture in Haryana and future of employment in Haryana. So thank you very much. You have gone into depth, particularly in case of agriculture. I was feeling more and more fascinated by your ideas, but I do not want to introduce my agriculture bias in the discussion on Haryana economy. So now we move to the third speaker, Dr. Shailender Kumar Hooda ji. So Shailender, I hope
Yes,
we will be able to hear your voice more clearly. You are in Delhi. I think there should not be problem of signal here.
let me see, sir, how it will go. So, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can. I hope others also can.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
we can hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's say, sir, thank you so much, first of all, for giving me this opportunity, especially to Professor Charan Singh, as well as Bishnoi, and to uh, Ramesh Sanji. So, sir, in this presentation, I would be focusing on industrialization in Haryana. So, I'll be giving a brief overview along with the some kind of key messages that we can get from industrialization in Haryana, basically. So when we look at, Professor Bishnoi also provided this kind of, the narrative, let's say, when we look at, a country transform from agriculture, then to industry, then to service. When we look at India level, overall classification, sectoral classifications. So if you look at India as vis-a-vis Haryana, we are going more or less similar kind of, share. Look at the industry share in overall sectoral share. It's almost the hovering around in last 10 or 20 years around 30%, whereas service sector is increasing and agriculture share is declining. And similarly the case of Haryana, where agriculture share has reduced drastically and service sector has picked up the even very high. But if you look at share of industry is more or less equal to that I was referring to India. And we all know about the country generally. When we look at their developmental path, they generally the follow different type of economic transformation from the on their modern path of development. They may the undergo a process of structural transformation in which the resources are reallocated from low to high productive economic activity and from low intensive to low skill intensive activity. But in India also generally there is a say whether, because we have moved from agriculture to service sector, so there is a say the whether India has missed a manufacturing bus or not. But if you look at India and Haryana, more or less similar way it happening in industrial sector. But when we look at the other state, how other state GSDP is there, when we look at their compositional share, I
Dr.
find that
Shailender, sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Shailender. Your PPT not moving.
So PPT is not moving. Okay. So should I share it again?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has
now,
moved
now
now.
it's
So, sir, should I
Now
share
it
it
has
again?
gone. Now it has
Yes,
moved
yes,
too fast.
yes. So can you see it now, sir?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So these are,
Sir,
you know,
can you
the
make it full
sectoral
screen?
share I was referring to at India level, and this is Haryana. The industrial share is, you know, the like this. And when we look at industry share in respective state GSDP, Haryana is not doing, you know, the as per the other state. Few other states are doing. For example, if you look at Uttarakhand, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Assam, and Odisha, these 4 5 states, you know, that are doing better in terms of, you know, that their industrialization development in their own state. And Haryana, if you can look at this thick line, thick green line below, is Haryana, and thick line above is Uttarakhand. So Uttarakhand moving towards, you know, the economic transformation that should happen, that happened in developed country as well. But Haryana is, if you look at in their GSDP share of industry sector, is more or less, you know, the over a period of time stagnant, and it's like other states are also, those who are industry laggard, that state are also doing the same. But if you look at Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Gujarat, and Maharashtra, they are doing really better in that context. And when you look at manufacturing share, when you because generally we try to compare the manufacturing GVA in terms of, you know, the comparing how we are contributing to the national level GVA in manufacturing sector. So Haryana manufacturing sector from last, if you look at 10 years, so slightly there is a increase, but we are still, you know, the very low. And but very pathetic situation is for Punjab. Punjab is really very low and not even moving upward. So however, but if you look at the state like Maharashtra, its share is declining, but Gujarat is recently, it was stagnant in between around 2010, but slightly it has managed to do really better. And Haryana is slightly started doing better in terms of their manufacturing share in the overall this thing. But when we look at overall performance, there are, I find, you know, the at least 4 parameters should be there to when we compare with India. So Haryana organized manufacturing industry share in overall state or overall India, if you look at 4 broad parameters like number of factory or share of factory, share in employment, in overall India, and share in GVA, and share in gross capital formation. So more or less it was zigzag earlier and were more or less stagnant, but from last 10 years, if you look at since 2014-15, in terms of number of factory in the registered organized manufacturing is increasing, share of employment is also increasing, GVA share though slightly zigzag, but more or less, you know, the increasing trend even in the gross capital formation also, that Professor Chauhan also mentioned about the investment pattern this. But when we look at the broad parameter in terms of absolute numbers and rupees in these 4 parameter, number of factory, number of person engaged, total value of output, and gross capital formation, they are moving upward. But when we look at year on year growth rate, they are more or less, you know, the on declining path. So this is an interesting observation that I find in this slide, actually relating to the who contribute what, how, which industry contribute more in terms of number of unit or providing number of employment or value of output. So I find 10 top industry are doing really better. First is in my list is the food product. and another is 14 and 15, this textile and wearing apparel. So they are also, in terms of number of unit and employment, they are doing better, but in terms of output, slightly less. But we all know about textile sector is generally, the labor intensive sector. It's provide more employment. So this is a good sign is that. But when we look at,
Dr.
the
Shailendra,
fabricated
Dr.
metal and basic metal
Dr.
also.
Shailendra, just
Yeah.
can you put it on full slide? Because there are,
Yes.
that font is very thin. We are not able to see
Okay.
everything clearly.
Can you see it, sir, now? Can
No,
you see
it is same. It is same. Maybe that option is not there when you are presenting in webinar.
No,
Full
seminar
slide.
7, it was there. It was there. So let me share it again then. So again and again. So share it again. So maybe. So can you see, sir, full slide?
Full slide is same as it was earlier, but it's okay. I think maybe in this mode it doesn't work. It's okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yes, sir. So if you look at this top 10 industry, if you look at computer electronics and electronic equipments, I clubbed these two because of this electronic nature and computer related stuff. They are also contributing somehow, to an extent. But machinery equipment, motor vehicle and transport equipment are the industry in India, in Haryana. They are contributing not only in terms of number of unit, but number of employment and value of output is contributing, the more than 40% of the overall. If you look at it, if you look at these top 10 industry generally contribute in terms of number of unit more or less around more than 75%, employment more than 80%, and output also more than 80%. But in recent few years after 2014-15, the share of machinery equipment, motor vehicle and other transport equipment has declined, and this place has been taken by the coke and refinery petroleum. So I do not know what has happened with the machinery equipment and motor vehicle equipment, which we established early in the our development path in Gurgaon. This Maruti stuff came. So in addition to this, I would like to share some concern related to the industry. One is wage profit dilemma. So because in profit, we generally share that when a company make a profit and turn into the investment. But over a period of time, if you look at the after, let's say 2007-8, more or less you can 2010 more or less profit share is declined. Earlier it was increasing, but now it is more or less stagnant, except if you exclude the corona period. But more or less 40% profit, but wage share are the more or less 13-14%, except for these two corona period where wage share was higher than the profit share. So it means the labor are getting less than the industry. Industry is getting more in this context. And if you look at and if you look at labor productivity in Indian organized manufacturing is increasing over a period of time. Means labor are contributing more to the industry, whereas but our industry might be moving toward an capital intensive and high technological intensive related stuff, because employing labor for producing one unit output is over a period of time is declining. Means we are engaging less labor than we should have done. One interesting observation is that when we talk about technological upgradation, so I was looking at recent ASI data when this R&D spending by organized manufacturing sector. Haryana was one of the state where the R&D spending out of total, let's say if you look at this list of 9 states, they contribute more than 80, 85, 80, 89%, sorry, 88% of total R&D spending in organized manufacturing in India. and where share of Haryana was around 16 and the 10%. But due to COVID, I do not know how it has happened. It has declined to a very drastic level, whereas Gujarat and Maharashtra, they have picked it, the after even after COVID related stuff. So industry in Haryana moving towards the spending, because there is a growing literature saying that once you spend more on R&D, so you will be able to compete in the international market, and you will be able to produce quality product. And then let's say if your R&D spending is declining, this is not a good sign for in this context. And when you look at one interesting observation, I looked at the recent ASI data. If you look at 2022, and government of India also came out with an unorganized enterprises survey 2022. If you compare in this context, earlier there was a say that the around 80% of the labor are engaged in the unorganized manufacturing, not in the organized. But I find a slightly different picture. Estimated number of person engaged in manufacturing sector using these two data set, ASI as well as NSSO data sets. So in Haryana, organized sector provides employment to 72% and unorganized 82%. This is a very healthy sign if you look at. And even if you look at India level also, so we are doing better in terms of the providing employment in the organized sector, 36%. Earlier generally people used to say either 90% or 80% the employment in the unorganized sector. Whereas if you look at the number of enterprises in this both survey, ASI as well as unorganized organized manufacturing, so Haryana has more organized manufacturing. And when you look at number of person employed per enterprises, Haryana employ more person in organized than in the national level. This is a really interesting observation. Now let's move to the unorganized manufacturing part, where I find is that the number of worker GVA per establishment or per worker, Haryana is much ahead, around 1.5 times more than the GVA is generated in Haryana's MSMEs when we compare with India average, and GVA per worker also and GVA per establishment also. And when we look at the one terms also the by price of the land highlighted by Professor Chauhan, also reflecting the market value of fixed asset they are holding and market value of land per establishment they are holding is much higher in Haryana. And let's say this may be a deterrent to the new entrant, those who want to come in this market to establish their own unit. Maybe the fixed price and the value of land they have to pay much higher than. So, and when you look at the current technological upgradation also in MSME sector, because we know whenever we move to our technology and online payment, bank accounts and digital India kind of things, we are started doing really better in terms of using internet. Around in India, 35% or 36% of unit now in the establishment sector using internet, whereas in Haryana it is around 52%. And when we talk about computer usage, because computer usage leads to the high productivity growth in the manufacturing sector, is also though it is really very low, but we are moving. Earlier 2015-16 data was showing really very low usage of computer and internet. And when we look at the MSME regional spread, what I observed is that most of the, around 50% of the MSME are located in four districts like Gurgaon, Faridabad, Hisar, Karnal, and Panipat, and including, let's say, if you include Sonipat in these. These are all, if you look at, they are all, the NCR region adjacent to the Delhi. But however, what I observed is that wherever is a registered sector high, so I find a spillover effect of large sector enterprises on the MSME as well. Not only the MSME sector, but is also overall GDP share and per capita income of the. of Haryana. And what I observed that around, if you look at registered manufacturing, 31% of manufacturing employee, 21% of factory in the registered sector are in Gurgaon, 20% are in Faridabad. Similarly, if you look at MSME distribution, also more or less similar. And therefore, their share in GDP is also constituted very high. And therefore, also, in terms of per capita income, also, these 2, 3, 4, 5 districts are contributing much more than what the other districts, that do. This is largely because of the faulty plannings that I will reflect in my subsequent slide. And when we look at the India districts wise achievement in SDG, what I find is that only these 3, 4 the districts are front runner in terms of the Faridabad, Gurgaon. Again, the in SDG 8 and 9, Faridabad, Gurgaon, Panipat and Sonipat are front runner. Otherwise, more or less our districts are come under the aspirant districts, where we have to make a lot of the investment, and we have to, let's say, if you want to make aspirant district at front runner or achiever or performer, we have to find a different kind of policy to invest in those regions. And when we look at the decent work and economic growth, what I observed is that in the MSME sector, share of informal worker in total hired worker is around the 72%. So this is the informality still exists in the sector. And when we look about the industry innovation infrastructure, we have not moved from when we look about structural transformation within the industrial sector, generally we move from the labor intensive sector to the high technological sector, including the science based sector like pharma, fertilizer. Though Haryana is we use lot of fertilizer including Punjab, but fertilizer industry are missing from Haryana. Though tractor industries are there, equipment related, but fertilizer is missing, including the pharma, that chemical sector also missing this from. These are the how we are making our industrial sector to grow better. So we have the around NCR region. So we have major industrial state like like Gurgaon, Faridabad, Bawal, Kundli, Samalka, Bori, and this Bahadurgarh, Rohtak, Murthal, Rai, Manesar, Sona, and Panipat, Narwana, and Kharkhoda. All these, if you look at recently, also government of Haryana allocated lot of the acre lands as well as investment happened in, like for example Kharkhoda, Bawal, and things like that, and Samalka. Is happening over a period of time, like in Rohtak also. IMT opened from a 900 acre land. Manesar extension IT park is more than 3,300 acre, and Kharkhoda IMT is the 3,300. Panipat also 923 acres land has been proposed, and in some of the things they have been achieved.
Shailender, you have 3 minutes left. 3 minutes, huh?
Yes, sir.
I thought I'll inform you, only 3 minutes left.
Yeah, within that, sir, I will.
Yes.
So when we look at the industry attractiveness model that the generally Haryana follow, is we prepare an index related to the historical strength of the districts. This is all about districts strength, ancillaries industry, raw material availability, basic infrastructure, industry specific infrastructure, labor availability, local infrastructure, land availability, and then the Delhi Mumbai corridor related stuff. So we give weight, and accordingly the Haryana, though there is a good policy in that, but this policy is largely focusing in the NCR region, not in beyond the NCR region. And when we look at the approach that we have is to attract more FDI, so as to the prominent global Indian cluster, we have to identify and sell our product in the global market as well. So we follow this foreign trade, FDI, growth, production related, this 4-pillar growth pattern that generally Haryana follow. And as why I was referring, the all growth pattern, related to this IMT and industrial estate or HSIDC, more or less are located around around NCR region, and we are largely focusing on NCR region only, not the beyond. This is the graph of the NCR region where we are focusing with different kind of the IMT and industrial estate or HSITC site, different kind of site. There are few concerns I thought share with you relating to MSME sector. The bank account we are doing really great. Now earlier, the only 46% in India had bank account. Now, the 86% in Haryana, it is 91% enterprises are having bank account. And when we look at the overall registration status is also improving over a period of time. But when you look at the problem faced by the enterprises, what they refer is the shrinking fall of demand, erratic power supply, power cut, non-availability or high cost of credit, non-recovery of financial dues, and growth. When we talk about the 3-year growth status of enterprises, they are saying that we are expanding very few, but other are saying, majority of them saying either we are stagnating or we are contracting. So these kind of things, I think we need to address these kind of things as well. So I came to my last slide. This is the relating to the key message. And if you look at, I was referring to the operating cost in Haryana is really very high. Either if you look at fixed cost or land cost, I do not know fixed cost of land we can address. We cannot address, but fixed cost related to the capital, I think we can easily address by providing low cost loan to the enterprises. And wage to worker is over a period of time not only low, rather it is declining, except for a few more year. So it will create a demand side issue where people will not find the money in their pocket to buy the industrial product, and this will be another kind of vicious circle of low demand of industrial sector, and industry would not be able to grow. In larger context also, this is an important issue that we have to pay more to the worker so that their demand should they can demand a industrial product. And innovation technology we are moving at, there is no doubt, but some of the science-based industry is missing from Haryana, like pharmaceutical, chemical and fertilizer, that Haryana can focus on. Effective use of ICT is still happening, and finance of MSME, I find the consistent credit flow is needed. Success rate of loan applications should be there. Awareness about government financial scheme, literacy rate among the aspirant or startups should be also be there. So intrastate variation, I know that there is we need to either revive the old like Hisar. There are some cluster kind of things, but not operating very effectively. But they are doing good, but not so much. So establishment of new industrial district center can also address we have to move beyond the NCR region. One important issue I would highlight too is the youth employability. So we did a survey in Punjab and Haryana, in Hisar and Bhatinda. So what we observed that we studied the three aspect. One is relating to the ITI, another is polytechnicals, and then we talk to the industry fellow. So what we observed is that what the course that we are teaching in the ITI as well as in the polytechnicals are not suitable for the industry. So even if you are providing good quality education to those people, they are not capable enough to the industry is not able to absorb them as per their own this thing. And Professor Bishnoi also mentioned about the academia engagement, how we have to engage the assessing the effectiveness of policy, regular feedback from challenging faced by MSME and other industry related stuff, and awareness about the entrepreneur through recent activity. I was doing this study related to Haryana, but I did not find a very good paper, any single paper done by any Haryanvi on Haryana industrial related stuff. That's why I thought of the mentioning this point, how academia should be made responsible to do a lot of study related to industry. So this is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shailender. Very insightful and also very analytical, fully backed by facts. In fact, participants were keen to see your numbers. but you tried to put a lot of good things in one slide. So because of that, font was small. So this is what is the sentiment of
Okay.
participants. And there are many other comments in the chat box also. I would request the three experts to just quickly go through those comments, and in your final response may like to respond to some of those there. But we will also invite people, individuals to raise some point if they want to raise it with you. Again, there are a couple of things, but maybe sometime I meet you and share with you, because the subject which you discuss is very, very important. You started with that Haryana and Haryana and India have similar kind of growth path. Yes,
Yeah,
direction is same.
transformation, industrial sector I was talking about.
Yeah, direction is same.
Yeah.
A line at 30-degree angle has a much lower growth rate than a line which is growing at a 70-degree angle. So directions are same, but magnitude are so different. Like in Haryana and India, share of agriculture in state and national economy is almost similar. But in Haryana, only 30% people are employed in agriculture. In India, it is 45%. So there are differences in number. There are, I find, interesting lessons from that comparison. And also, I find that Haryana is still doing better in GB of manufacturing, but because Haryana is a small state, the increase from 3.5 to 5.3 is not visible, but it is much more than the increase from 15 point to 18 point. So that is the reason. But if one look at your number final, the fine numbers, then very interesting patterns are there. So I just want to know from organizer Vishnaji, is there this tradition of inviting participants to ask questions?
Yeah, sir. Before I move to the participant, just one or two I would like to the comment from the experts in Haryana. One thing is recently the government only 2-3 days back they announced 7 new schemes relating to agriculture, like digital agriculture mission on strengthening the education, research, and then horticulture, livestock. So such things, how they are going to impact the Haryana, that is one question. And second, how do you see because the water is a very very big issue, and cultivation of sugar cane and paddy or rice for that matter is also very very important. So the natural resources, the judicious use of the natural resource, that is a big issue, because we are exporting lot of sugar, we are exporting lot of the large quantity of rice, and Punjab, Haryana, those are the two main contributors. So how do you see our agriculture policy related to this? Basically, on one hand, we are water stressed country, on the other we are virtually exporting the water, and how the digital agriculture mission will impact agriculture of Haryana in particular. So those, in case you can just throw some light on this issue.
Any other speaker, please raise your hand if you want to ask some question to the experts. Any other participant?
Yeah, this is Ashima Goyal. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So nice to see all of you.
Oh,
I'm joining the
Ashmari,
seminar.
good to see you.
Yeah.
Good evening, Ashma ji.
You know, I was interested in Haryana because of the comparison, as Ramesh ji said in the beginning, between Punjab and Haryana being contiguous states and having very different parts. But more specifically, we know that in Punjab and Haryana, which are the main source of a lot of food grains, and if we need to change India's agricultural policy and the distortion and allocation of resources, then I think that the beginning has to be made at the state level. Because at the national level, too many other states, which were not really involved in this, get involved. There are all sorts of political factors that come in. So now Haryana seems an ideal state to have much better agricultural policies. As was said, they are trying to diversify agriculture. It's recognized that it's important, but it seems that the state policy, there are too many schemes, they're not credible. So how can these schemes be coalesced and made compatible with central schemes in order to show an example to Punjab farmers how diversification can happen and outcomes can be much better? Yeah, that was my question. Thank you. Was it audible?
Yeah, we could hear.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Yes.
You see that hello, am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
You see that there are two schemes of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Number one is rooftop solar system to be installed on residential houses, and the other one is replacing electrical pumps by solar agriculture solar pumps. Both these two schemes are to some extent non-implemented in Haryana. Can we do something about it? It needs simply awareness by the economist speakers who are in universities
Sir.
and all. They can persuade their students to help people in their villages to fill up the forms for rooftop solar system, and also for applying online for solar pumps, because it is difficult to fill up those forms online. This is my query.
Yes.
And if we reduce the cost of power to ₹0 per unit. Thank you so much.
So, Arji, this is very important. Uh, sorry, I seek the permission of the chair. So, it's very important. I conducted a study on the grid-connected rooftop solar panels, and I found that there was a conflict of interest with the DISCOM and with the producers. See, the rooftop grid connected can be implemented only where 24-hour electricity supply is available. Because those who produce electricity, the households, they send the electricity to the grid.
Yeah.
And only thing is that their electricity bill goes down. So I found that the discoms don't want that their revenue should drop. Although actually they will be benefited in buying the electricity because they get the electricity at a very cheap price. So
Yeah.
they keep delaying deliberately or non-deliberately or due to very little corruption. I didn't find in fact much corruption in all the districts except in 2-3 districts. Generally, you can say officers were honest in this case, but they delayed the decisions. So whenever somebody applied for a double metering system, so they kept on delaying the things for a long period of time, and it increased the cost of the vendors, because this was the duty of the vendor to get the subsidy. Later on, the government stopped the subsidy also. Although on the side of the, you can say, households, consumers, or you can say producers, they were ready to install the rooftop solar system without subsidy also. It is
Yeah.
viable and beneficial without subsidy also. They feel so. But the vendors, those who supply, the engineers, generally you can say micro entrepreneurs, you can call them. One engineer and 2-3 persons with them, they can install the system. They had to employ one person only to get the clearance from the DISCOM office, and
Yeah.
that increased their cost. And many of them have come out of the business. This is one thing. At the rural area,
Yeah.
the MSP should be declared very clearly that whatever electricity they are producing, that is purchased. Rules are there, laws are there, everything, every framework is there. Grids are also there. Well, the only thing is that government or discoms, I don't know who, they are afraid of. So I have spoken in Akshay Urja lectures, and many times I was invited there. So they don't listen to these suggestions, and it's very important that they should declare the MSP for that. See, in the power generation and power billing, there is a 8% gap, and the farmers who produce the electricity, they will never even say go for a theft of the electricity. That we should understand. So if we convert the consumer into producers, the electricity theft, that will be totally eliminated, and that will be a big efficiency for whole of the economy. And you see, farmers, they need regular income. So either faster is there the, you can say, money, say longer is the cycle of the money, say they 4 months. One cash crop takes say 1 month, but milk takes only 1 day to produce the money. And similarly, electricity production will also take only 1 day. So every day the farmer can earn something. That can become successful. What was second? Pump, related with the pump. So that's excellent, sir, because it has
Bharji,
been.
I think you have made the point. No need to spend so much time on this issue. You have made the point adequately. Any other point you want to make?
For the electricity, that is not useful. If they are getting fluctuating electricity, if they get a good quality electricity, it is more useful. And the subsidies on the fixed, not on the, when say, variable cost, that is the electricity, that is not useful. You can say subsidy once given to the efficient electrical pumps, that will cover the cost of the electricity. This is what I want to say.
Thank you, Ashok ji. Dr. Bishnoi, just 5-6 minutes if you want to address any issue.
Regarding this agriculture thing, I would like to have one observation, and that is that we have been working on with government of Haryana on certain project. So what we found was that in case of value added from agriculture, growth rate in agriculture, in particular in livestock, is around 7.5% per annum over the last 15 years. In case of crops, it is only less than 2%. Similarly, when we look at the horticulture side, divided things into general crops and value-added crops or cash crops. It was again only 2%. So the problem, what I see in Haryana, has been one point: milk and livestock is doing very well, crop is not doing well, but problem is with horticulture. So in case of horticulture, the growth rate is almost stagnant over the last 10, 12 years. And the reason we could see government has started Bhavantar Bharpai scheme or certain other schemes. Those schemes are not really that much beneficial. To my mind, when we talk to farmers and discuss things with them, is that if sufficient infrastructure could be created for for fruits, vegetables like pack houses, refrigerated vans, and cold storage, and all these things, then things can improve for horticulture in a much effective manner. Similarly, when we say this power sector, I'm not talking about only this solar system. Somehow, even for industries, when industry try to get open access power from other sources except this discom, Haryana government discoms, then wheeling charges, lot of other issues, the technical issues, the discoms are creating lot of troubles for industries in excess of cheaper electricity from outside. So that is the issue industry had been facing. In case of seasonal industries, like many of these food industries, we have done a study for government, and there we found that when industry is running for 6 to 8 months, and the industry person will have to pay the fixed charges for electricity for 12 months. So they have increased this minimum charges from say 20,000 to 2 lakh or something like this. So this has been creating a lot of trouble for industries also in many ways. That's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishnoi ji. Dr. Shailender Kumar, anything you want to add?
I think nothing is there for me, but still I can, the one question in the chat box is there, that the sectoral transformation at present is good compared to the classical economist opinion in a prospective planning. So I did not say this actually. whenever a country transform from the agriculture, it should go to the industry. But somehow industry share in India more or less the stagnant. We are working towards that to increase that share. I think that will happen. So
Thank you,
I think
thank
yeah.
you very much. And I would be very brief because we have already crossed the allotted time, 4 to 6 p.m. For me, it was a great learning to listen to three experts from Haryana on Haryana economy. So Surinder made a very important observation that nobody from Haryana, because you expect people from the same state to understand things better, to feel more concerned about challenges and feel more happy about the performance. But that was not visible. But after listening to your presentation, my view that further strengthened that Haryana story need to be told more, and it need to be told much more strongly. Because in my view, it is a success story. Recently, there are some concern which need to be addressed, but I have a conviction that this is a success story. And this I am not saying in front of you people. 6 years back, when 15th Finance Commission visited Haryana, I was member of 15th Finance Commission and meeting was held with the cabinet. I said it in the presence of large number of experts in Panchkula that earlier we used to say, but Bengal thinks today, rest of India thinks tomorrow. But what I am observing is that what Haryana do today, rest of India do tomorrow. So really, you have done some very good things. It is a result of good governance, political commitment, and so many other things. But I would say that Haryana story need to be told more and more. And if it is told by people from Haryana, still you can tell your own story in a much better manner. But I feel tempted that I should also, I did not publish much on Haryana, but I did 2-3 reports for Haryana Farmer Commission, then present government of Haryana. But on publishing front, I think I didn't do much justice to Haryana, except when I was talking about all the states. Then one thing which I want to observe is about skill. Surinder also mentioned about experience of ITI. We had a presentation sometime back by Mr. Sabharwal of Team Lease. So he does some very good work on employment. So he compared where graduates from different IIT out of a sample of IIT are employed. So he came with very interesting conclusion that, oh, those IIT who were having some link with the corporate sector, with the industry, who were catering to their need. Almost all people who did that course in ITI, almost all of them got absorbed. That that when prosperity comes, the capacity to wait for good job increases. So in poor states, you will not find much unemployment, as Dantwalaji used to say, poor cannot afford to be unemployed. So with better income, when income rise, then this capacity to wait, capacity to search for better job, it increases. That's why you find urban employment is higher than what is rural employment. It's not that opportunities are more in rural areas, but if that wait goes for long, then it can be very dangerous. So it should be addressed, and only one way comes to my mind, that to pay attention to skill, whether it is through ITI, whether it is through skill mission or other mechanism. Then Ashma ji raised very valid point, and I think there is one area where Haryana did not do differently compared to Punjab. That is agriculture. Only in some cases they did, but they are very, I would say, minor, that they adopted Bhavantar Bhugtan Yojana in some of the crops. So this is, I think, overall situation that in case of agriculture, if Haryana doesn't go for diversification, and that is the state which is best I think best located to take advantage of
Right.
diversification because of vast
Also, they
market
have
available.
less people dependent on agriculture, so they can,
Yeah, only 29.8%. I looked at all these numbers this morning. So much less that is there. So that's all which I thought I will share with you. Once again, I really want to express thanks will be expressed by Vishendaji. I want to express this feeling that I gained a lot and I am feeling excited to do some paper on Haryana if I get work from my routine activities. Thank you.
So all good things come to an end, and today's session is no exception. It was a masterful exposition, to say the least, led by Professor Ramesh and our Professor Ashok Chauhan, Professor Narendra Kumar Bishnoi, and Shailender Kumar Hooda, Dr. Shailender Kumar Hooda, our CEO, Dr. Charan Singh, and the very prominent in the audience, led by Professor Ashima Goyal ji. She always raises very pertinent question and makes and then it also is a challenge for the speaker to answer. That is no joke, because that requires a lot of deep thinking, and then all of us in the process get benefited, in the sense that we become wiser after this training, this webinar ends, and so much insight, and it was a sheer delight to hear each one of you, including the questions asked by the from the audience. And I am thankful to each one of you and all the participants and CEO. And this was such a wonderful discussion that tomorrow afternoon we'll be putting the video recording of this in the public domain on our website. And next week on the Friday, the same time, we will have a program exclusively devoted to the women, how to handle the crime and other things. Though will be again, we'll be flashing our the details about this, and that will again be very exciting. And my thanks to all of you, Professor Ramesh Chan, Professor Bishnoi, Professor Ashok Chauhan, Dr. Shailender, and all the audience, and our CEO. He is on the record, but today he is taking a back step, but he is always in the forefront. And it is his mastermind who has made almost 250 uninterrupted webinars on each Friday. So thanks once again to all of you. Please join us in the next Friday, and it will be again very exciting discussion on women devoted crime and how to think, because slightly different, but that will be, and the speakers will be prominent, like Professor Geeta Sen, and then Miranda House principal, and other leading women in the country. So thanks once and all, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
With
you.
this, and
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.